Hello and welcome to Let's Ask the Angels on Spreaker. I'm your host, Barbara Calvano. It is my honor to serve you with guidance and messages to support you on your path of living with mastery. Hello everyone, it's Barbara Calvano and welcome to Let's Ask the Angels here on Spreaker and wherever you listen to it on your podcast. Spotify, Apple, Audible, Amazon Music, and more. So welcome. Today I have the messages for June 16th through the 25th, the year 2025. And yet, if you just choose a podcast of my more than 300 episodes, you might find the exact message that you need. And that's kind of how it goes. But this week I was guided to use the Mother Mary Oracle by Elena Fairchild. And how I want you to think about Mother Mary if you're not quite familiar with her, or you might even have a little aversion because it may feel like religion. Think of Mother Mary as the mother, the divine mother, the mother that you may not have had. The mothering energy, that perfect feeling of mothering energy. That's how I want you to think about her and her messages. And I'll be reading from her pamphlet book because it's quite always spot on, and sharing some of the insights that I see happening from my own life. And even before we go on, if you're new to me, Barbara Calvano, my website is bcalvanocoaching.com. You can subscribe there and stay updated on receiving the weekly emails with the photographs of the cards and any upcoming events or courses, workshops I may be having, and you want to stay on top of that. And also, you can read testimonials and just find out more about me. And that being said, is there anything else? I want to talk about this energy of Father's Day here. I'm in New York City. I'm in the United States. And Father's Day can be intense for people. And we had that on the same day as this huge peaceful protest in the United States and also all around the world. So there's huge energy about the father figure, the father, the person in authority who's supposed to be watching over us. And there's a big healing happening where we want to bring this person accountable. And we may be also feeling that in our own lives. Not everybody has a great Father's Day, and some do, but it can be a very painful day for many people if there are still wounds that need to be healed. And it's a powerful time for healing. So I say that because I'm healing a lot of my own right now, and it's a gift in disguise. It may not feel great, but it's a gift in disguise. I'm also an actor. I came across at the Tony Awards reading about one of the winners, Cole Escola, and he had a situation that happened to him when he was quite young, where his alcoholic father confronted he and his siblings and his mother with a shotgun, and they all left, and they left to go live with their grandmother in a trailer. So that happened. Well, I had my own situation where I was confronted by my father with a shotgun when I dated a black man, and it was his way of saying that he wasn't happy about it. And instead of me leaving, or even my mother helping me with this situation, I stayed and I suppressed all that sadness and fear. And there's more to it. I mean, I speak to my father today, but the impact of being assaulted, in a sense, even emotionally and psychically in our lives by the parental figures can affect us for our lifetime. And there are so many ways in which we can heal. And one thing I can say for sure, that God, the universe, never gives you more than you can handle. Because if I had confronted all of my upset early on in my life, I may not have been able to function, truly. And it's come as needed, come as I'm ready to process it. And we're never going to be at a perfect neutral point where everything is resolved. If anything, we are going to continually be like a diamond being a piece of coal being shaped into a diamond, rubbed over and over and over until you shine more and more brilliantly in your life, or the peeling of the onion, or even in the heart, the unpeeling of the petals, in our heart, in our crown chakra. It's a continual effect of awareness. And when you have an ability to take these situations and be present to them to the fullest extent that you can, they lessen and almost disappear. They definitely lose their charge. But most people run away. They definitely don't want to confront those things that are painful. And it's not like we're going to spend every day just feeling and only looking at the painful parts of our life. But there may be periods of our life where things are coming at us. And what's happening right now with all the big changes in the world and the very high level intensity of energies is that we have the opportunity to see within ourselves what's coming up. What does it remind us of? What's incomplete in our lives from our childhood and maybe even past lives? What's still there hanging on where we may not trust? We may be fearful that things are never going to be okay again. Living in the sense of trepidation and anxiety. Yeah, that can happen. So each of us has the opportunity to be aware. And the more you work with the divine, which is the connection to the universe in whatever form you want to call it, God, goddess, nature, we have the opportunity to become bigger, to have a bigger heart, a bigger awareness of ourselves in the world, and instead of feeling contracted and smaller and even putting like a hard shell around us. And that actually has like a mirroring effect in our body. The more we can let go, the more body is free and easy. And the more we hold on and cover and hide and hold in, we're creating that kind of constriction within our bodies also. So it's really something to be aware of for the advantage of having a long and joyful life. So that being said, and Father's Day, again, it's not easy for everyone. One of my colleagues, her name is Rita Gigante. Check out her name. She's written a book about it. Her father was a mobster that went to prison. And we're talking the mob, the mafia. And she endured a lot. And yesterday when I was praying to my angels, like, what is the answer in terms of myself completely forgiving my own father? And what my answer was, if you don't, it's going to impact your body. You're going to hurt your body. My hip joint is definitely a lot of incompletions and fear of moving forward and reconciling with all those conversations and stories and things. But I don't want to constantly live in the past. So for me, it's just to forgive. It doesn't mean that we say that the act is forgivable. Some of these acts are not forgivable. But we can forgive the person, the human being who did not know what they were doing, or they did, but holding on to it does us nothing. Again, we don't forgive the act, but we can forgive the person who did it and move on. Literally cut the cord and no longer look and deal and delve and need to reprocess what happened in the past. So my dear friend Rita, she had to deal with living in a mafia family, and she is one of the most powerful intuitives and healers that I know, because she shut the door on it, but she embraced it all. She faced the truths, and she talked about it in her book and shares it with others who may have difficult relationships with their father. We may not have all had a mobster as a father, but we may have had fathers that, were not healed. They did the best they could. And it may have taken us years and years to heal and to find our own grounding, our feet, our ability to move on. And there's so many things I still want to do in my life and it's taken me a while to get here, to have the full confidence in a way I never had before. But it took me to look at the part that was not comfortable. And working with the angels, believe it or not, helps me with that. It helps me do daily clearings as thought patterns come up that want to hold me back, that want me to stay protected, stay small in the world. It allows me to step out every day, keep creating, keep challenging myself, keep wanting to serve, to enjoy life, find the goodness. When others may not see it, we see it for ourselves and share that. That actually, all of it is in the reading this week. So here we go. Again, it's Mother Mary Oracle from Elena Fairchild. And the very first card is Our Lady of the Inner Gate. And here it says, my initiations are sacred, and no matter what appears to be happening in your life, I'm behind it. I am always guiding you towards your heart, for within that sacred temple, the most precious treasure is kept. To obtain that treasure, you will need courage, trust, and faith. I bestow my grace willingly upon you, my child without restraint. You must provide the trust in me that gives you courage to take the journey. Your rewards shall be riches beyond all imaginings. So when I say you must provide the trust in me, again, some people have difficulty trusting people, given what's happened to them in the past and in their past lives. That is one of the major keys for profound abundance, joy in this life. Yep, we got to learn how to trust and look at those places where we need to forgive. There's a teaching that it is easier to be grateful during a feast than a famine. In a similar way, perhaps judging on appearances alone, it can be easier to feel the presence of the divine behind the happy events of our lives or strokes of luck and good fortune, rather than in the challenges and loss. Yet the mother instructs us that she is just as much behind the challenges as she is behind the more obvious causes for celebration. Now, how can this be? In her wisdom, she knows that of which we are capable. She knows what our heart can handle, how much heartbreak we can bear, in order to grow our heart into a powerful vehicle for divine compassion, bliss, and wisdom. She knows that sometimes the happier path will be of great benefit to us. She also knows that at other times, being granted all that we want in the way that we think we want it, it would actually prevent us from fulfilling our divine destiny and receiving our full spiritual inheritance. And what I can share from that is, the more I've had to go through some difficult things like I've had in the past 8 months, and the more I faced it, I feel bigger, more vast, more alive, more grounded than previously. And has it been uncomfortable? Oh, hell yes. It's been the most uncomfortable experiences. So, while there will be many times in her journey with us that she guides us on a joyful path, there will also be times when her guidance leads us straight into what we most wanted to avoid. That might be loss or challenge or letting go that requires greater trust than we have ever had to someone before, or a need to endure great confusion as we let go of a life too small for us. We will grow through the transition into the larger life awaiting us. What gets us through these initiations is the understanding that she is not trying to harm us or punish us, but to bring us to life. So Our Lady of the Inner Gate, again, this card comes to us with a message. We are being initiated into the power of our own hearts. The heart creates a powerful magnetic field that can be felt within us and around us. As we grow spiritually, the electromagnetic field of the heart grows too, and our energetic influence can become important, not only to immediate family members, but to the whole communities with which we are involved. We can continue to grow in that heart power and become influential and sustaining to the world around us. This can even operate to the point that a country we are traveling in at any given moment will be impacted by our heart field, through which the Mother's grace can flow. And I share this, that in 2016 I went to Japan. I had not been to Japan in 30 years, went on a trip with my mother. I was very nervous at seeing some of my relatives. I've shared this story before on my podcast. And some of my Japanese relatives, I'm half Japanese, are still upset with the United States because of the war, and upset with my mother that she got pregnant and left the country to go to live in the United States. There's a lot of that. So I can almost feel that as I was in the airplane traveling to Japan. So I get there, and then all of a sudden I get a pain in my lower abdomen, can't even say it, my stomach. And it turns out that I had an inflamed appendix. And I was in a Japanese hospital up in the north for a week on antibiotics. And they did not have to do the surgery. It was an incredible, beautiful experience being in that hospital in the country. But while I was there, I had a lot of emotions, a lot of healing happened besides my inflamed appendix. And I heard the crows, I heard the wind, and the birds and everything. And I lay in the bed there for a week, and I think I was the first American that had ever been in that hospital. And I let myself heal a lot of the things that I had felt as a baby in the womb of my mother. And I also know that I brought peace to that community, to that hospital, of my being there. One of my attending doctors ended up saying, out of my visit there, he now wanted to visit the United States with his family, his son and wife. And I say that because there are some who did not want to visit the United States. So we don't know how influential our journey of healing can impact others. I promise you, it's impacting not only your family, even if they say nothing. It's impacting that and your communities. And the outward appearance may not always look like what you think it is to impact something, but I promise you, you are making a big difference. So whatever's happening in your life at the moment, whether joyful emerging or challenging descent into facing a fear, know that it is an initiation into your heart power. We move through these initiations by not resisting them, but staying present and by being with what we feel. This might seem impossible, and yet it becomes possible with practice, patience, and a willingness to trust that it isn't some random suffering to try and get out of as soon as possible, but a pathway that is leading us somewhere truly valuable. Even if we are in dark times, we can know that Our Lady of the Inner Gate is guiding us, keeping a watchful eye on us, and a guiding hand at our backs, so that we can find our way into the deeper chambers of our hearts. This card also heralds the time when you are growing in spiritual power. Whether you are aware of this consciously or not, you are becoming a person of increasing energetic influence. If you have some natural sense of spiritual responsibility, you may worry about this, wondering if you are always putting out constructive vibrations. Like I said, do not fear. You do not have to be perfect. You just need to be yourself and trust. It is your trust in the divine that brings the most power to your heart emanation and the most healing to the world around you. It is your willingness to experience your life with growing trust that empowers the Mother to act through you and for others to be nourished by your presence. I'm spending extra time on this first card here. It is your trust that waves the way to the inner gate, opening it wide and allowing you to discover the treasure within your heart. It is the riches within you that you're looking for always, even if you fantasize from time to time that you are desiring something else. Without the riches of the heart, anything else obtained soon enough shows itself to be an empty vessel. It is the fullness of life itself and all that it offers that shall open up to your heart as it becomes even more capable of receiving that precious gift through this process. So one of the things I'm really sensing is that, we all are looking at what's happening in the world and how it's affecting us, and especially here in the United States, and it's brought up a lot of fear and anxiety. The best thing that we can do is take that action. Take that action. Take that action. It can be simple as someone saying, no, I need to take care of my health. And I've heard a neighbor say that to me at least 5 times, and they're like 20 years younger than me. Well, there's nothing much more I can say about explaining to them what happens when you go to this yoga class, etc., etc. You got to want it. You really got to want it and get in touch with that want. So the liberation comes from us, not from the outside. So you want a sense to feel free right now and not afraid. Well, you need to take an action. Join up with others, join a community, take a class, get known, get your body out into the world. It doesn't come from hiding. And that is what this larger, darker energy wants us to do. And I say darker only to describe an energy that wants us to be fearful. And what is our response to that? We could be. Or we could say, no. What can I do? And sometimes it's not easy to go by ourselves. Like, so my neighbor, what I want to say is like, let your husband go with you, or one of your teen children. You don't have to do these things alone. It could be anything. That is the gift of having other people around us in this world. Believe it or not, they're just afraid too to do something. And when you ask for support and empowerment, you're showing them that that's possible. And it's a simple key of being a happy person in this world, is knowing that you can go through something that is difficult, but you can extend your hand, they can extend their hand to yours, and you can go together. That is the multi-million-dollar answer to so many things. So that is the first card. Now the second one is Our Lady of Growth, Assured. So the first one talks about opening that gate of our heart, having the courage to do that. And then the second card is, there is a beautiful manifestation which you have long desired, coming to fruition now. It is important to the well-being of your own soul and the healing of our world that you have patience and allow this birth to happen at the best timing. If it happens too soon or too late, there will be unnecessary complications. I will take care of the timing. As you trust me, you will find the birth of your dream happens naturally and with great joy. Now, I'm going to speak about this. The delusion is that we think that there's so much stuff going on that we still cannot create the life that we want. So that's the delusion. And that's the distraction. And that's what, I use the word darker forces, that is what the fearful forces want us to believe. And then we subjugate all our power, all of our energy to the one who seems to be above us, right? But actually there's nothing there. There is nothing there. Now, there are laws and things and that they're enacting and saying. There's a lot of hot air, a lot of, I can't think of the word, but there's a lot of posturing to want us to feel diminished. So this big transformation that's happening on the planet right now, it's happening right now. It's like the birth of the new freedom has to push through a lot of this chaos. That's what's happening. So you don't necessarily have to be on the streets protesting, but you can be, at least in your heart, in your mind, you know what's right and what's wrong, and you're willing to give your life over for it. Doesn't mean you have to die for it, but it means you're not going to give away your precious life to some ridiculous person. You just make that shift and you just say no. And then you begin to take actions, whether it's cleaning your house or moving to a new place, changing your job, speaking up at work, speaking up in your relationship, getting healthy, not allowing yourself to become depressed because of certain information. Get the help that you need. It's about being proactive. This is what it's like to work with the angels. It's really about being a rebellion for a sacred life, for yourself and for other people. So there's something that you're considering embarking upon, either a new project or taking a chance on a new interest or social connection, or even a new philosophy. Perhaps it is a letting go that will lead to a new start. The oracle of Our Lady of Growth Assured comes to tell you that your success is already determined in heaven. What needs to be now is your continued effort and prayer, surrender, and patience on the physical plane, and most importantly, your positive expectation without any attachment as to how it will happen. That your situation is working out and will manifest perfectly. Now, one of the things I speak often about is that if you are numbing yourself, and you could do it not even know you're doing it, numbing yourself with negative thoughts, negative substances, not getting exercise, that's like no oxygen, right? We don't even know we're doing it, and we think it's the way the world is. Well, it is the way our world will continue unless we decide to be the instigator, the interrupter. Be the interrupter of your own life. You may have to be the interrupter in a family, in a community. Do not be afraid. Because if you're already sensing it, tag your writ. The angels and the divine have already given you that idea. What if? What if I could do that? What if I could be the one who spoke up? What if I could be the one who could instigate the change in my life? But once you've asked your spirit and the angels for an answer, for a solution, here's what it says. It's been done. The order has been taken. I often say this, it's like being at a restaurant. You give your food order. You don't give your food order over and over and over again. You give it once. The waiter takes it to the kitchen and they make the food and they bring the food out to you. But you don't have to reorder it. The order was taken. But most of us don't trust that we've been heard, because often as children, we were not heard. So this is where we just have to make the distinction and choose. In my life today, I am heard. If we want to manifest something truly special in our lives, something that perhaps is a little out of the ordinary or contrary to what most people think is possible, then the blessing of Our Lady of Growth Assured is very helpful. To manifest, we start with the inspiration or impulse from our heavenly divine self. That translates into inspired ideas, then thoughts, and perhaps plans. As we add our heart and passionate energy into the mix, we generate the fire we need to eventually act on opportunities in the physical world so that our manifestation can be complete and successful. The more extraordinary our desired manifestation, the more it is likely to challenge mass beliefs or tip our world upside down, even in the most wonderful way, and the more likely it is that there will be delays or difficulties with our manifestation. That is because we will be bumping up against some powerful opposing forces. The negative expectations of the world can cause even the brightest spirit to slump from time to time, losing energy and forgetting to trust in the unconditional love and incredible power of the Divine Mother. So when this happens, our manifestation process might get a little bumpy, hitting some snags here and there. If we come back to our center using the healing process for this oracle, we speed up the process again, getting back on track. So this card, Our Lady of Growth Assured, comes to tell us not to give up. She tells us to have patience and work on feeling open-hearted and open-minded about our manifestations and how they can come into being. We work on feeling the energy of what we want to create. So if it is abundance, for example, we work on cultivating that feeling of abundance as best we can, all the while remaining open to the manifestation of our intentions without attachment as to how, when, and where it will look like. So speaking on this, if you want a relationship, there's no reason why you can't have one right now. You want a partner for life or just for, fun, friends. You can easily manifest that. What is manifest? Have the idea, the dream. Think about how great it feels, and it is done. The opportunities will start to show up and where to go and how to meet people. Same with, I'm dealing with my health issue. I most likely will have the hip replacement in a month and a half or so. I've been concentrating on that I'm well, I am strong, I'm vital. I'm concentrating that I'm healed, all is well, as opposed to the opposite, which I did feel for, a few days thinking about it. Our thoughts are so, so, so powerful. So that is the second card. Now the third card is Our Lady of Answered Prayers. Don't you love the sequence here? And here it says, I hear your every thought, your every prayer uttered under the breath. I feel every beat of your sacred heart as it yearns for my limitless love. Do you imagine that I could be ignorant of that what you need the most? Or that I would neglect attending to the deepest needs of your sacred heart? Do you imagine that I am not moved by your suffering or your courage? My beloved, I have always answered your every heartbeat, and you must now look for me to see that I stand right before you and have never left you. I am now with you, and your prayers are answered through my miracles and my grace. Have faith in me. Now again, if the image of Mother Mary is too much for you, it could be nature, the beauty of nature being there for you, the moon, the flowers, the trees, or maybe you have a deity, a god, goddess. But there's an energy outside of ourselves. That's my whole purpose about this podcast, Let's Ask the Angels, is that when we have that divine connection of a higher power beyond our understanding that's there for us, something that co-created this, the intelligence of the universe that brought spirit, that brought us into being, that had us be birthed. I know that many of you have had at least one moment where you knew, you trusted that you are held by the universe, by Mary, by God, by the angels. And the more you stoke that fire, the more you concentrate on this, more is made available to you. You actually experience more, you see more of it, because that's what you're focusing on. Prayer is a powerful practice. Sometimes we might worry that we are not saying the right words or that our prayer is too simple or too confusing. Prayer is just speaking with the divine from the heart. There's no need for ornate words or perfect expression. Whatever comes from your heart is the most powerful prayer. Prayer is conversation with the divine. In the same way that we communicate regularly to build a human relationship, to strengthen our relationship with the divine, we can choose to communicate regularly too. Morning and night, we can utter a quick prayer from our heart. Mother Mary, be with me, guide me, protect me, assist me, that I can serve love. Thank you. It's like getting dressed spiritually, wearing an invisible but palpable robe of protection and grace. And if, again, the Mary is too much for you, I see her as pure love. You could work with Archangel Michael or any archangel that you feel very close to. It's all perfect. It is subtle but extremely effective. But when done regularly, you will notice a difference over time. You will eventually wonder how you even managed without it. Perhaps you may worry or be confused as to what you are needing protection from, but there's no need to be fearful. There are many distractions and distortions that exist in the world, from the most mundane and yet powerful forces of media and advertising to the more subtle, and yet also very powerful undercurrents of unprocessed fear that exist in the collective human soul. I'm going to say that again. A lot of what we're feeling, even from the top people at, very, very top, is undercurrents of unprocessed fear, even from, this so-called president, that exists in the collective human soul. Every person, every human being brings their own unprocessed fears to the table. All of us. And the ones that are running the show, that are causing chaos, they got a lot of unprocessed fear. And they act it out. And they end up acting it out on innocent people. So the more aware we can be, the better choices we can to protect ourselves in the matter of being at certain places at certain times, knowing what to say and not to say. Not that we're controlling, but that we're aware. We're aware. This oracle brings a profound message of peace in that your prayers are being answered now. Feeling the relief of this realization can help that answer reach us more quickly. A soft, receptive heart, rather than a heart hardened by fear or expectation of disappointment, can be touched by the divine more easily. Answers always come. Also, part of how this happens is through being willing to not just look at your life situation now, but to really see your life through the eyes of your heart. There's something or someone that is happening in your life now that is the seed of the answered prayer. The situation is being resolved. Sometimes this is in the earliest stages, and we have to wait a while before we can consciously recognize that the miracle is manifesting right before our eyes. At other times, however, it is meant to happen now. The solution is right in front of us. And when this oracle appears, your solution is not in a distant future, but under your feet in the here and now. Open your heart and open your eyes. You can pray that you see the answer before you now and become capable of accepting the divine help that is offered to you now with the following healing process and affirmation. This oracle is assuring you that your prayer is capable of being resolved. It is also encouraging you to hold a soft, receptive heart in realization that the answer is already tapping at the door of your heart, waiting for it to open up and receive. So this is something to think about. Be aware, be conscious. Are you being negative or are you being positive? Not like positive, like ignoring what's really happening, but are you adding more negativity to your life? It's so simple, and yet we don't realize what we're doing. And when you start seeing that maybe my anxiety and stress, these are things are happening around me, but am I adding more to it? Am I reacting also from the past? Because it's reminded me of a time when I was a child and I had no control. So we're constantly healing. We constantly have the possibility of reaching out for support through a therapist, a counselor, or even getting an angel card reading through me or someone. There's constant earth angel support all around us. So those are the cards for the week. I wish you the very, very best. And again, if you like this, please share it with others so I can reach more people. And if you listen to my podcast and you feel up to it, leave me a great review so I can it gets pushed up on the scale of podcasts, spiritual podcasts. I really do appreciate it. And if you feel the need, want to even contact me about a reading, your own session with me, you can do that also at my website, bcalvanocoaching.com. So have a blessed, blessed week. I will talk to you next week. See you then.